All right, so let's start by learning how to do the long tail cast on. There are several different ways to cast on a project. It really depends on what you're making. A long tail cast on is good for dishcloths. And I mean, whatever pattern you're following, it will generally tell you what kind of cast on to do. And if it doesn't say, my go-to is always the long tail cast on, which is what I'm showing you today. I find it to be the most common, but again, it just varies project to project, and I will be sure to post videos as I discover new ways of casting on as well. So to start our cast on, you need to find the end of your yarn, and this is what's going to be called your tail end. So leave a little bit of it, just a few, maybe 5 inches or so, not a ton. And then to get an idea of how much yarn you need for your stitches, grab your knitting needle, and I use my thumb just to hold the yarn against it, and you're just going to wrap your yarn around 10 times to give you an idea of how much yarn you would need for 10 stitches. So wrap it fairly loosely. So you can see I've got my pretend 10 stitches on there, and then you can pull it off, and the amount of yarn you have is roughly how much you would need for 10 stitches. So if you were making the first dishcloth, for example, is 40 stitches, so you can just fold it in half. So this is going to be roughly the amount you would need for 20 stitches. So you can even just fold that in half again and double it. So this is sort of a rough idea of how much I would need for 40 stitches. And then I always just give myself a little bit extra. Give yourself another 8 to 10 inches just to be on the safe side. So now you want to make sure that you have your different ends separated. I'm going to have my tail end on the right side and my working yarn ball on the left side. You just need one needle to do your cast on. Okay, so to make a slip stitch, you are going to use your right hand side, bring it over top of the left hand side, giving yourself a loop. And I just pinch it with my thumb and finger on my left hand. You're going to use your right hand, thumb, and index finger to go through the loop and grab that yarn that's hanging down. That's going to be coming from your tail end over on the right side here. So reach down through and grab that piece and pull it up through. And I usually loop it around my index finger, and then you can kind of pull that tight. And then you can slip it right onto your needle and cinch it up so that it's fairly snug on your needle. You want it loose enough that it can sort of freely move on your needle. If you've got it way too tight and it's hard to move on there, that's going to make it tricky to knit. So not too loose, just sort of loose enough that it can freely slide, but it's still a little bit tight. So then you've got 2 strands hanging down. One strand is coming from your ball of yarn, and the other is coming from your tail end. You always want your tail end to be at the front, so closest sort of to your body, and the working yarn, which is coming from your ball, to be at the back. So I'm going to grab these 2 strands together with my bottom 3 fingers, again making sure that the top piece of yarn is your tail end. You're going to use your thumb and index finger to go through the middle of those 2 strands, and then you're going to open them fairly wide and bring your needle down. So you've got sort of almost 2 loops. And to do this long tail cast on, you're going to use your right hand needle. You're going to come up through this yarn on your thumb that's closest to your body, and then you're going to sneak over and grab the loop that's around your index finger and pull it back through the thumb. And then you can slide your thumb out and off. So again, you're holding the 2 strands, bring your thumb and finger through the middle and open your thumb and fingers up wide. And then I pull my needle down a bit to give myself some sort of working space. You're going to pick up the loop on your thumb, leave your thumb in there while you do it, come around and pick up this strand on the front part of your index finger and pull it through your thumb. Then you can let go of the loop on your thumb and kind of pull it tight again. Again, making sure that your stitches can sort of move freely on your needle. Not too loose, but not so tight that they can't move. So I'll show you that a few more times. You're going to grasp the yarn down here, thumb and index finger through the top, and then I bring my needle down, pick up this loop on the front part of the thumb, come over and pick up the strand on your index finger and pull it right through. Let go of that loop on your thumb and pull it a little bit tight. Snug, I guess. So again, pick up this outside loop on your thumb, come over and pick up the strand around your index finger and pull it through. So we have now created 4 stitches, 5, sorry. These 4 we created by using the long tail cast on, and this one here was our slip knot. It still counts as a stitch, so we've got 5 total. And any pattern will tell you how many to cast on if you're making one of the dishcloths. The first dishcloth that is just knitting is 40 stitches, so you need to get through 40, which is great because it's great practice, and by the end of it you'll be really have a feel for it, and you'll be able to go quite quickly. Once you get the hang of it, it goes really fast. And if you make a mistake, which I have done, where, see, I only put 1 loop on there, I didn't quite do it right, you can just slide it right off and start over. So, there you have it. That is the long tail cast on. And just carry on until you have enough stitches.